This one crazy. I'm about to twist it up though. That's why I look like this. Anyway, we'll start now. You know what you. Anyway, so man, I weigh 287 pounds. Can you believe that? Anyway, federal police are picking up protesters, and I'm not sure why they're protesting. I think there was probably another murder out there by the police. I know there was a man recently killed, but I think that was in Detroit. And yeah, Portland they are protesting really, really heavy, and they're tearing down stuff and tearing up stuff, and it's really going down in Portland. So, like I said, I don't know why they're protesting, but nonetheless, they are protesting heavy. And once again, we saw a case where a black woman and a white woman both were stopped by the police, and the white woman was let go, and the black woman was thrown into a van, and and the people who were with her asked, "Where is she going?" They asked, "Who are you?" Because the federal police are riding around in unmarked vans. They're renting them from uh, I forgot what rental place they're getting them from, but that place is probably going to be in trouble once everybody finds out where they're at. But they're renting them, and so we don't know who they are, and they're just picking people up, and they're telling them, if you follow us, you will be shot. This is illegal on every level. I mean, it's just illegal. You can't just pick up protesters. I mean, people are getting hung. All right. So everybody's still on alert for that. And now you're just picking up black people who are protesting and then saying if you follow the van, you'll get shot. Listen, look, this is America. You wanted to know what America's really like. This is America, people. You are not in a position of power unless you collectively, get together and make a show of things, because the rules of engagement for the federal police are completely different for the rules of engagement from regular cops, but also the military is involved in it. And I told you guys that once the military gets involved, it was going to be a whole different thing. I told you guys that some of this stuff was going to happen. Once they get involved, they gun you down and don't care. I warned you. For the few people who listen to my channel, you know, I mean, military can gun you down and they'll give that person a badge. So here we have where I mean, it's pretty clear that the basic human rights are being violated on every level now. Uh, they weren't doing anything crazy. They were just protesting, and then the police just came and picked them up and put them in the back of a van. Um, the police did not identify themselves. The federal police, they did not identify themselves, and they felt they didn't have to, and they didn't say where they were taking this woman. So we've seen this over and over, and this is a very real thing. We don't know where those people are going, and they haven't been seen for days. So if they're in prison, you don't know what prison that they're in. If they're in jail, you don't know what jail that they're in. You can't post bail if you don't know where they're at. Uh, you don't know who are the names of the cops that took them. You don't know anything. All you know is that your friend got snatched and they're gone. Like I said, we're still bugging out because people are being hung. Black people are being hung. So now look. Here's even if the federal police have permission to do this, here's another danger. Anyone can impersonate them. You can't tell me a gang of white dudes with AR-15s can't pull up anywhere in an unmarked van and snatch somebody up and say, if you follow us, you'll get shot. You mean to tell me they can't do that? These police did not identify themselves. They didn't say we're federal police. And then they had the nerve to make excuses about it. So we are at war, people. I've been telling y'all this for years that we're at war. And there's no way the federal police should have permission to just snatch you off the street for protesting. Not unless you were violently protesting, not unless their lives were endangered. But this woman, I mean, they didn't confiscate any weapons from her whatsoever. But the white woman was on her knees with her hand up and watched her black friend get taken away and hasn't heard from her since. So this is what they're doing now. This is where we're at. If look, I stopped protesting. I went down there one day. You guys know my lungs can't take any protesting. I can't, any of that gas get in my lungs. I'm in for it. But for you people who are still want to protest or gonna protest, be very aware that they're. I know, I know. I'm going to twist it up. It's going to look different tomorrow. I know. I'm looking crazy, ain't I? But it is what it is. But so yeah, all that stuff about all that stuff I was talking about in my early videos when all this stuff started happening, all of it's coming true. I told you when the military steps out, it's going to be a whole new ball game. Now it's a whole new ball game. You like the hairstyle? All right, that's what's up. It's a whole new ball game now. It's not there is no law and order. That's what it looks like to me. There's no law and order. If they're taking you with if they're just pulling up in unmarked vehicles, no police lights, no nothing. You don't know that they're cops. There's no badge. They don't identify themselves, whatever, and then they threaten to kill you if you follow them. This is just a gang of. I mean, they could be any gang. Anybody can do that. And here's the real danger: anyone can do it, and it would not be impersonating a federal police officer. You know why? Because hey, what's going on? Because you didn't identify yourself as a federal cop. You didn't show a badge. There's no badge that they're showing. There's no name tags. So if you have nothing to show that you're a federal cop, and then somebody else comes and does this to somebody else, and guess what? You can't get them for impersonating a cop unless they say they're a federal cop. So people can just roll up and start snatching people and putting them in the back of vans. How do you think this is going to turn out, America? This is going to go bad. It's gonna go real bad because black people ain't gonna be the only ones getting snatched up. Well, I know some law. I know that you need to identify yourself. I know you can't do what you want. You just can't snatch somebody up because they want, peace. But nonetheless, they're not. What I'm saying, they're not doing nothing. They're not doing nothing to put your life in danger. I know you can't. You can't do that and then put it. You got to understand it. Federal prison. Okay, prison is federal. Jail is domestic. Right. So if someone goes to jail, if somebody goes to jail, you have the right to a speedy trial. You know what I'm saying? Within what 7 days now, you have the right to a speedy trial. You uh, there's some other rights that you have if you just go to jail. 15 years. What up? 15 years for what? Oh, impersonating a cop or a federal officer. But if you go to jail by the federal police, you could be in there for 2, 3 years before they even come see you. They can just put you in jail and not say anything to you. Yeah. So there's a big difference in being imprisoned and just being jailed. I mean, you can get out of jail on the same night. Federally, not that easy. Not unless you 6'9" or someone. Yeah, you better go ahead. You know, and all of that, all of what's going on there. But if you ain't got clout like that, you're gonna be in there for a while, and they can put you under the jail and just forget about you. One guy told me they put him in a room for 17 months and just left him. I mean, they fed him and all, but they put him in a 6x9 for 17 months. Drink that in. 17 months. Just done. And the police beat him up. They beat that dude up right here, down about 3 miles from here. Beat him up bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's real out here, people. All you who who don't want police reform, you never been beat up by the cops. We need police reform. We don't need to defund the police. We need police reform, though. We definitely need reform. There needs to be some type of penance for killing people, and you can't just go into Alton Sterling people and just get away with it. What they did to Alton Sterling, it hurt my very soul. You can't Tamir Rice people. No, we not having none of that. We not having none of that. All those people need to be held accountable, and they need to be held accountable right now. That guy who shot Tamir Rice, he didn't even give Tamir Rice a chance. They just rolled up in 2 seconds, just shot and killed Tamir Rice. They didn't use their normal command, which is put the weapon down. They didn't say anything. They just blew him away as if he was a known criminal, this 13-year-old, and then got off like it's okay to shoot children, as if no other race children play with toy guns. No, it's simply because he was black, and then tried to lie about the whole thing, and I hope, I hope they burn in the pit. That's what I hope. But yeah, the federal police are doing some crazy stuff, and I don't think it's just gonna end there. I don't listen. I think here's what I think. I think the powers that be are causing this uh, these situations on purpose. I think they're murdering people on purpose just so people will come out and protest. And when people come out and protest, they go out there and gather them up. And now they don't even use the regular police because they attack police stations. Like, man, what the heck? What's going on, man? How you doing? Thank you very much. Trying to do something with it. I don't want to cut it. I know it look raggedy, but I don't want to cut it. So I just been combing it out and then twisting it and then combing it out. But yeah, so I think they're causing this on purpose. I think the George Floyd incident, I don't think it was an incident. Or excuse me, I don't think it was an accident. It was an incident, but not an accident. I think they did it on purpose. I think they've been pushing for this type of action, and of course, the reaction to their action is to go and press it. Did you see that officer's face when he killed George Floyd? Was it me, or did he look like it was just another walk in the park? He looked like it was just another, like it looked like it was normal, didn't he? He was like, he had his hands on his hip, like it's a normal day. Like, what are you talking about? It's a normal day. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this guy. Something's definitely wrong here, and I think it's gonna get worse. Like I said before, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Because right now it's getting worse, and like I said before, I knew once the I knew once the federal government got into it, it was going to be a bad deal. And once they start, they like to, escalate things because they like to use their toys. They like to blow stuff up, kill people, just to see what happened. Like we're lab rats. That's what they like to do. Let's see if we can kill this person and how we can do it. Tuskegee experiment, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. They didn't have to do that to them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to do that to them. Pearl Harbor wasn't an accident. That was all planned. And the president knew it because he was a puppet. He's just another puppet. And he was just like, he knew it was going to happen. And when they came and sunk those ships, we went into action. You know what I'm saying? All this is just a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't need to happen. But we're going to be at war until we find something else to fight or someone else to fight. Something's either going to have to fall out the sky or come up out of the ground. More likely to come up out of the ground. And then we'll be blowing that up and killing it and justifying the deaths of, whatever it is. Man, Black Wall Street was a... Black Wall Street... Here's the thing. Here's what I think about Black Wall Street. I think that Black Wall Street, I think those people might have known something was going to happen. Because when you look at the story of Black Wall Street, they were already talking about the tension of the dividing line that they had. It was literally one street, just like gang members. It was literally one street that divided the black and the white people. And the white people would, be along that street or that avenue and just look and just call them names and say stuff to them. And it was just a powder keg. Like, you knew it was going to happen. But nobody expected 3,000 people to lose their life. Like, that was a huge event that America just can't sweep under the rug. America can't go, just, we're sorry. We're sorry. 3,000 people. You guys were hanging people and cutting off their genitals, raping the women, throwing the babies to the alligators. They call it gator bait. Look up gator bait. They were taking black infant children and throwing black infant children to alligators. To alligators. And this is what they was doing. They probably still do it. I bet they still do that. Go down to Florida. Like, it's ridiculous, some of the stuff that they're doing. But, listen, this whole thing with Portland, Oregon, I think, once again, it's just a test trial. Now that the feds have stepped in, I think it's just a matter of time before we all wake up and go, you know what? I think I'm being bitten up. Before they go, you know what? It's all going to pot. Like, there's nothing the way it's supposed to be. And then once everybody wakes up, see, we think we're woke now. We're not. We're not. Because we're going after the police, right? And the police aren't even awake to the situation that they're in. They're not. The police aren't all the way awake. They just know they work for an organization that tells them to go out and make arrests. They know that. But they don't know it to its entirety. Like, we know the president, like, people are saying go out and vote because, so many people suffered for us to go out and vote. So go out and vote because, Mr. Lewis or, all these other people, died so you can go out and vote. This is true. The battle was to be able to vote. So people died for that right. 100. Nonetheless, on a federal level, meaning the presidency and senators and things along that line, on those levels, especially the presidency, your vote doesn't matter. Your vote doesn't count. The popular vote doesn't count. And here's the thing about it. It never did. Hell, according to I mean, when you start digging around in government files, we're not even human according to them. We're not recognized as human. We're not. Look at the Constitution. You know, look at all that stuff we so-called the Pledge of Allegiance to. Has nothing to do with black people, except for no slave will go unpunished. Francis Scott Key. I mean, let's be for real or be for Roni. This country built itself off of slavery and indentured servants. And once it got to where it wanted to go, its financial existence, it pretty much said, hey, you're still a slave. You're still a slave. And this is the mentality of the people who are in a position of power. Donald Trump was going to be the president 20 years ago, meaning it was already written in stone for Donald Trump to be the president 20 years ago. And he's going to win his second election. He's going to win the second election. And people are like, you should go out and vote. I did that once with George Bush. He lost and he still got to be the president for 2 terms. Sent the country into turmoil. 9/11 happened. And all this other chaotic stuff happened. The price of gas was $4. $4 for the price of gas. And he became president again. And popular vote was like, we do not want him as president. He became president again. No, y'all not getting me through that again. I'm good. You want to vote? Go ahead and vote. I can see voting for local office, city council, even House representatives. You know, uh, one of you asked, do I know the law? I don't know the law in its entirety. I don't think anybody, not even a lawyer, and it changes all the time. But I used to work for the Ohio House of Representatives as a legislative aide. But they kept telling me to come back, so eventually they just hired me on. So I only worked there for 1 year. So I know a little bit of something about law, but you can't get me to quote an ORC or something like that, which is the Ohio Revised Code. I tell you straight up, I don't know. I can't sit in any courtroom and go at it, and I don't read none of the law for it. And I don't. Damn, that mosquito tore me up. I don't have a lawyer's mind. The verbiage is just too convoluted to me. Nothing is straightforward. But what I'm trying to say is that the law is like no law. It's only a short matter of time before we all go into Mad Max. That's what it's going to look like, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And I'm saying that because, okay, so look at how it started, right? COVID-19, we all, the school was in, everybody went to school. Basketball, football, all the sports were being. George Floyd pops off, people go into protesting mode. COVID-19 pops off, or COVID-20 or whatever it is. It pops off, they shut everything down. Then protesting keeps going because murders keep happening. And while these murders keep happening, COVID-19 slowed down, then picked up. And now it's about to ramp up again. So it just doesn't look like an accident to me. It looks like we know COVID-19 is going to be out there, but we need to put the people in the street. We need to get the people out of the house. First, they didn't want you, when COVID-19 came out, they didn't want you, social distancing. People was like, we want to go back to work. They're like, no, we're not letting y'all go back to work. Then the people went down to courthouses, loaded. White people screaming and hollering, let us go back to work. We want to get our hair cut. We want to be able to buy a sandwich. Okay, fine. Then more people start catching COVID-19. So they looked at that and they were going, well, wait a minute. The people in Kentucky came out in droves with their guns and were just like, we're going to go and protest COVID-19, the stay at home order. And then that's what they did. And as soon as it was over, their cases spiked. So it's just simple math. It's like, oh, okay. So if we want people to go back into the streets, you know, we just go, kill somebody else. And we need them to protest. So that's the whole trick. We need you to protest. So how do we get people, especially the young, the millennials, how do we get people out into the street to protest? You go and kill a black person. And it has to be a black person if you want the largest protest. Because of Black Lives Matter, which is started by two gay women that don't support men whatsoever. They support gay black men. They don't support heterosexuals. They don't want nothing to do with a straight male. And the Black Lives Matter money doesn't go to the so-called organization. It's used for political gain. That's why you ain't never seen me with Black Lives Matter anything. And I knew some people who worked for the Black Lives Matter. They worked in that community. They're both dead. One of them was, they were both murdered, and I believe by the police. So where we're at now is get more people on the street. If you noticed before this, when they would kill us, there would be a protest, but the protest didn't last long. Remember the protest out in Minnesota, where they went up to the woman who was shot in her doorway, and then they shot a man. He had a screwdriver in his hand. They just blew him away. So when those protesters started, what people did, because there were other protesters, they know that the protesting didn't last for more than a week. So even the news was like, they're protesting, but it ain't going to last that long. It's hard to sustain, that. It's hard to sustain protesting, and it is. People run out of steam. We have been protesting now for how long? For how many months now? It's the longest protest I've ever seen. Because it's not one single protest. It's protests in waves. And whenever the protest dies down, somebody else gets killed. How you guys doing?
We live on the north.
You notice that? Just look at it. You can break it all down to numbers if you want. One of you, GPA 5.9 can do that. But if you just look and see what's going on, the protest is not one protest. You think it's one big protest, but it's not. It's like, it's protest for so-and-so, boom. Protest for so-and-so, boom. Protest for so-and-so. And you just keep protesting. Why? Because they want you to stay in the streets. Stay in the streets. The more people stay in the street, the more COVID-19 people get infected. The more people stay in the streets, the more excuse they have to come out and arrest you. Just for being in the streets. They were even arresting people for not wearing a mask, right? They're still doing that, right? Arresting people for not wearing a mask. But look at it. Just okay. Before COVID-19, what were they doing as far as federal prisons? They were letting people go. Kim Kardashian West, Kim Kardashian, and going in, I'm getting bit too much. And Kanye. It was more Kim, not Kanye. Kanye running for president. Yeah, right. Kanye. Yeezy. Yeezy wants to be president. Yay. Come on, yay. You are ill-equipped. But nonetheless, so they were letting people go, right? They were letting black people go. Just let them go. President signing orders, let them go, right? Oh, what the hell? Let them go. So you saw this whole wave. We saw this for like how long? How long we see this? Months. Months and months of black men who were in for 20, 30 years. They were all getting out and people were celebrating. And I was looking at this like, this is some old nonsense. There is going to be a reaction to this, and it's not going to be favorable. You're letting the prisoners go. America was built on prisoners. Built on slaves. That's what prisoners are. They make what, 50 cents a day working their ass off? It's the slavery system. Now you're letting the slaves go? Oh, this is not going to go too well. And what happened? Soon as COVID-19 came out, they found out any excuse to put your black ass back in jail. They were running around in New York arresting any black person. Men, women, child, putting them in jail. Underage didn't matter, especially the men. They saw them sitting around in groups. Boom, you're all going to jail. Violently arresting them, beating them up. You're going to jail. Tell me I'm wrong. It was the opposite of what Kim Kardashian did. She got some lady freed. A couple people, actually. But it's the opposite. All that people being freed, you ain't seen nothing in the last, what? Last person you heard that was freed was 6ix9ine. The last person. Him and his somebody being freed for, you ain't seen none. Because COVID-19 stopped all. You would have thought COVID-19 would let a bunch of people go who was in there for traffic tickets and, marijuana and small doses and stuff like that, nonviolent crimes. No. They stopped all that because the president does not run the country. There are higher powers who run the country. The president does not run the country. I mean, you guys can go out and vote. I'm not trying to tell you don't vote because some people are very religious about voting because they think it's going to do them some good. But, go out and vote. On a federal level, I'm not doing it. On a city council level and stuff like that, treasurer and things along that. I'm just kind of sour to the whole thing because I worked in the House of Representatives and I've seen them do some really, really heinous things to the people. Governor Taft stole $20 million right in front of us and got a slap on the wrist. The judge literally gave him probation and let him walk away. The governor did this. And he helped cripple the economy here in Ohio. 11 million people he crippled by stealing money that they needed. He just took it like it was nothing. And that soured me to politics. When I saw that, I was like, this gotta be a joke. This man is sitting there like nothing happened. And they just let him go on about his business and they never recovered that money. He sold a bunch of expensive coins. I mean, the freaking governor, not the governor now, but the one of the senators now, he was on the whole thing, and I'm just like, nah, bro, y'all crooked, bro. So I'm just kind of done with the whole voting thing. It just seemed too much. But like I said, on a local level, yeah, I believe that. Go ahead and do that. That's how you feel. Yeah, so if you look at the wave of people getting arrested, now you're seeing more and more people getting arrested. So it went from letting people out of jail, black people, out of jail, to now going ahead and trying to put as many black people back in prisons as you can. That's the modus operandi. Women too, put them in jail, put them back in jail. Come on, let's go. We got to put them in jail. So that's what they're doing now. And now it's even worse because it's not just so much you putting you in jail now. That's not what it's doing. See, when these federal cops are picking these people up, we don't know where they're taking them. We already know that they got, pretty much camps set up in the middle of BFE because of the whole thing with the people coming in through the country through Mexico. So we already know they have that type of setup. I don't think that they're taking these people to some regular prison because when you go to a regular prison, they can look up your name and they can look up the number that they give you. Everyone who goes to prison has a number. You know what I'm saying? You can't look up none of the people who were snatched and find out their number. They're not registering them because they're not going to prison. They're taking them somewhere else. I mean, one of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. If some of these people who are being snatched in Portland, some of the names that are being snatched and ain't been seen in 3 or 4 days, please tell us where they went. Because I don't think that they're putting them in prison. I think they're taking them to some camp somewhere and doing whatever they want to them. I mean, they could be killing them and doing stem cell research. That's what they do to with these abortions. That's why this Planned Parenthood, that's what you're doing. Telling these mothers you better get an abortion or you're going to get cut off your food stamps. Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that's what they were doing. They're using our babies, our fetuses, for experiments. And look it up. You think I'm wrong? I mean, there's a lot of evil going on. There's a lot of just evil. So, like I said, people, I think it's going to get worse. I think now what's going to happen, the next wave that's going to happen now that the military is all involved, everything's hush hush, because the military don't have to tell you nothing. I told y'all, when the military gets involved, it's going to be a different set of rules. They can shoot, kill you, and walk away like it's nothing. And that's exactly what the hell happened. They shot that guy who owned that little restaurant. They blew him away, and you have not got one notice of who was the person who blew him away because they were in the military. All they said is the police did it. No, the police didn't do it. Those guys had military outfits on. They were the military. And you can tell the military from the federal police. The federal police are showing up with camo, but it is not the same battle dress uniform as the military has. A military outfit, for one, when the military shows up, you're going to see the helmet. You're going to see them wearing that helmet. That is a standard issue helmet. The federal police don't have those. They have their own Kevlar helmets. But you can look at the helmet for a military person. You can tell that is a military. You can also look at the regular police and look at their camouflage and their helmets and stuff. Be like, that is a regular cop's outfit. That is not a U.S. military issue outfit. It's and you can tell these federal cops are running around trying to blend in like they're military. They are not military. They're federal police. And their style is different. For one, the federal police, they have caps on. They don't have helmets on. Another thing is they don't have rucksacks. You don't see none of them with any type of rucksack whatsoever. You don't see none of them with the mask that they have and the pouch that comes with it. That is standard issue, especially if you're getting ready to go into a war zone where they might use gas. And if you go back and look at some of these films, you're going to see the military, when they come out, for one, the way they stand, the whole thing is different because they're used to what? Uniformity. The federal police are not. The regular police are not. You can just tell the way they're standing. They're waiting for orders, and the way they move. It's like I told you before. They move like a fist. And they move all at once, and they move with a purpose. It's a whole different thing being a cop and then being in the military. It's just a whole different life, nonetheless. But you can tell what they have. Also, uh, the military are using M16s. The federal police, they're using whatever. So you can have a federal cop who can have a really nice AR-15, but if you don't recognize it, you'll think it's an M16 because that's the street version of the M16. But the difference is you can get a good AR-15, a good one. You can get one for about $1,000, too. You know what I'm saying? It'll have a limit on how many shots can be fired out of it. 1,200 rounds or so. You know what I'm saying? It'll have special amenities to it in the AR-15, but an M16 is a totally different animal. For one, an AR-15, I don't know if it has the same weight as an M16. I don't own an AR-15, but I've shot an M16. So an M16 air-cooled rifle, that M16 is somewhere in the realm of $20,000. So just wrap your head around that, and that's because of the way it's manufactured. It is made so it can fire more than 1,200 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it is an automatic weapon. It's not a semi-automatic weapon. The AR-15s on the streets are semi-automatic weapons. Now, they can be modified, but the way they're sold are semi-automatic weapons. So, any of you gun enthusiasts, you already know the difference between that. Um, Most of the time when you're buying weapons, you're worried about the biggest thing you're worried about is the barrel heating up and melting, and you're also worried about it jamming on you. So the bullet coming out and jamming. So on an M16, you can get a jam on an M16, but it doesn't take much to loosen up that jam. Pull that bolter back, boom. The next one slips in, you're going right back at it again. It is just a beautiful weapon. It really is, and it's only 7.5 pounds. Like it's nothing. You can run with it. I mean, you just don't feel it because it's only 7.5 pounds. Also, the M16, when you fire it, the bullet tumbles once it hits something. That's why it's so deadly because it can hit your knee and then come up out of your skull. So that's why the M16 is so deadly. It's made to hit you somewhere and hopefully strike a bone and then tear up your internal organs. That's what the M16 is made for. The AK-47 is meant to blow a big hole in you. So a lot of times when you see people using AK-47s, they're kind of doing a spray and pray type thing. When you see somebody using an M16, you usually don't see them just going like that, not unless you're watching Rambo. But you usually see them doing like this because they're aiming it. So it's just a different, weapon. You know what I'm saying, and a different way to use the weapon, and they're both as deadly as can be. But the AR-15 is supposed to be an amalgamation of the M16, but the AR-15 has so many different variations to it, and it depends on who you are and what you're trying to do and what you're hunting. You can go and buy an expensive gun and have no idea how to use it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But the federal police, I think they might be using uh, they might be using both actually, but the military, they're using an M16, which means it's an automatic rifle. You know what I'm saying? I yeah. I don't think they're using M16s. I think they're using AR-15s, and I think theirs is probably modified. And they did this because of the California robberies or the bank robberies back in I think it was like the 80s, where they were outgunned by these two men that went and robbed the bank and then pretty much stepped outside and took on a whole bunch of police who were using 9 millimeters and Glock 40s. And they were just, standing there taking hits because they were armored, but you know, they had they had AK-47, so they was giving it to them live. So after that, police changed their whole modus operandi. Um, but yeah, so the game has changed now. The federal police aren't playing, and I would be surprised if you saw any of those people again who they've taken. And there was a video posted by one of a white woman who's actually her friend was taken, and she was like asking anonymous to find out where her friend is. She's like, we need your help, anonymous. TikTok, and pretty much getting on the internet and saying, hey, internet, try to track down where these people are. That just says a whole lot because normally you can find out where these people are. but they wouldn't tell them where they're taking them. They didn't even tell them who they are. This is a whole different game now. It's even going to change the way you protest. So if you're still going out and you're black and you're still going out and you're protesting, you know you have the propensity of being taken by the federal police. And if you do, they do not have to return. And so what? What are you going to do about it? So with that in mind, you're going to hide in their face more. You're going to have you're going to have people who are going to actually get shot because they're going to try to protect themselves from getting snatched. And the federal police already let you know we're going to shoot you if you follow our car. Somebody is going to try to follow some of those cars. Listen, there will be blood. There will be blood. The police are going to kill another black person. And it's going to pretty much in the open. See, those hangings, those hangings did nothing. They were like on a personal level. See, you know, there would be a lot more people hung if there was a lot more reaction to the hangings. They hung what, 5 people, 5 men, right? There was a woman hung too. But usually, they're personal. But these hangings that they did, they didn't cause a all-out protest and people to go off. Why? Because we didn't know who to blame. So what they do, they're gonna change their tactics. Now they'll go back to shooting people. Hell, it might not even be a police officer. It might be an impersonator, just from whoever saying, "Hey, go out dressed as a police, shoot this black person and kill him." It might be 4 or 5 guys that they pay to go do this, and look like a police officer. And the reason why they're probably going to do that is because the guy who killed George Floyd, what they do? They showed up at his house and surrounded his house. So these police officers are like, well, we don't want none of that noise. They're going to dress as cops and they're going to go out and kill somebody. And this is going to spark a protest for the police. It's going to put people right back in the street where they can get COVID-19 or whatever they say is COVID-19. And this is going to cause more arrests for social distancing, more arrests for protesting the police. It's going to cause, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And pretty soon, I don't even want to speak into existence because I already know what's going to happen. I don't want to speak it into existence though. They're going to up their ante. They're going to up the ante. They're going to want more people in the street. What they're doing doesn't work unless the people are angry and in the street, trying to get some social, trying to get some equality, as if possible, not on a pandemic scale. It's not. It's not possible. You can. Okay, so the strides that people have made for fighting for, justice and equality, the strides that they've made, black people, or anyone who's been oppressed, have been great. And people who lost their lives, I personally thank you. But I realized that okay, we thought we knew who our enemy was. We thought we could look at the white man and say, "Hey, racist white man, you're the enemy." No, that racist white man is not the enemy. That racist white man is in a situation just like you are. Because that white guy who's living in the suburbs somewhere, he can, be in some type of job and harass, people who are under him if they're black or not hire you or whatever that is. That's not really keeping you down. That's not keeping you down. That's one job somewhere that's not keeping you down. That's not what that's doing. Especially now where you have more black entrepreneurs than ever. So that is not keeping you down. It's pissing you off, but that's not keeping you down. That's not. The real racist person is the one who controls the money and will not lend you money, will not give you grants. They'll give you loans, but they won't give you grants for your schooling or for you to become a farmer. They will take your farmland, and in one case, well, in many cases, they've killed black farmer and then took their land. Those are the people in position of power, and they are still acting out with the people in the upper echelon who have real money and real power, who are the ones who are setting up all these wars. See, those are the real enemies. But the people on the lower levels, they can get dealt with. What they just do with Emmett Till's killers, they imprisoned them, didn't they? Those guys were like 70 years old or something, weren't they? They just now imprisoned them. And the white woman who said he whistled at her, she now admits it was a lie. I hope they put her in jail too. So when you're looking at equality, you're going, okay, yeah, we're getting somewhere. We put those people in prison. We should have hung them. We put those people in prison. We should have got that white lady to dragged her white ass right up out the house, because if it wasn't for her lie, then it wouldn't have happened. We should have imprisoned her too. You know what I'm saying? But it gives you a feeling of, yeah, we're getting somewhere. We're coming up, but we're not even. We are not looked at in the court of law the same way as a white man is looked at in the court of law. And that's where it all is. In the court of law, from federal all the way down to appellate court or whatever, you're not looked at as the same. You're not. And I don't care what you do for a living. You're just not. And as long as that exists, you'll never be the same. Remember they had that trial where they said, we're gonna treat this white woman as a black man. They said when she gets in court, we're gonna treat her as a black man. They were telling you the black man is down here when it comes to the law. But see, these people, these judges, they're not in the position of power. They're just puppets. They're just puppets. The police too. They're just carrying out orders from a higher being, somebody who's funding them. You'll never defund the police. You can try all you want to. You never will. You will never take the power out of the police hands. And the federal government is making that very clear right now. You think you can defund the federal government? How? How? How are you going to stop the feds from coming into your house, snatching you up? Because that's where we're going next. See, once the protest dies down and they still want people to be upset, it's not going to be that they need you to come outside. They're just going to come to your house and make up an arbitrary lie. And they're going to come in force. My battery's dying. Hold on a second. They're going to come in force. And they're going to say, Margaret Binghamsley, 65-year-old Margaret Binghamsley, down in Alabama, minding her damn business. Ain't did nothing to nobody, sitting there with her grandkids, you know what I'm saying, watching Yo Gabba Gabba. Ain't did nothing. Mrs. Binghamsley, yeah. You need to come with us. She's going to ask why. And they're going to say, we'll explain it to you when we get in the car. You need to come with us. And it's going to look like they're the nice cops, because they're not going to put her in handcuffs. They're the nice cops. And then they're going to take old Margaret away. Kids are going to be crying. Phone calls are going to be made. People are going to watch her get taken away. And then they're not going to hear from her again. You're just not. That's going to be it for Margaret. You're not going to hear from Margaret Binghamsley again. All right, I'm going to read some of your, for you people who are still here. I just made that name up, so I don't know Margaret Binghamsley. Leaving the country would be good, Polo, but you would have to leave the country for and go to a country that is not being controlled by the puppeteers. America has been online, right? Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, you see what they did to that lawyer. You see what they did to that federal judge. Went and shot her son and her husband. Black prisoners were released to purge, right? And they went and picked them right up, didn't they? They just went and picked up a bunch of younger ones. Nazis with guns, yeah, boots. They'll move goalposts. I had a 9mm and a 3. Well, good for you, Tony. Well, you had? What do you have now? A 357. You probably got that, so it won't jam on you. What is that, an 8-shot? Is that a 6-shooter, 357? That's 6 shots, ain't it? Get a passport or unify. Well, I have a passport. I haven't updated it in a while, but I do have a passport. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go. That's my problem. I'm not sure where to go, and what I've been doing is trying to make plans to dip, right? But I can't dip on the money I have now. Like, okay, so what I did was, I've been hustling. You know what I'm saying? I've been hustling, working hard, getting my money up. That's what I did. So that's pretty much stage one. Well, stage one was find a way to make money. So I found a hustle, got into it, boom. Hustled up my money, boom. So I'm good now. I could leave the country now. But the money that I have is not making me money. You see what I mean? Like, I got some money, but I don't have a lot of money. But I have enough for a start. You know what I mean? I have enough to where I can, you know what I'm saying, ship my stuff, find a little rental property somewhere I can rent, get some food, you know what I'm saying, and set myself up, pretty decent and not be broke. So I got dough like that, but if this is not going and living in some chateau somewhere, nah, this is just getting a regular spot, paying, eight, 900 a month, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal, grabbing a 1-bedroom apartment, you know what I'm saying, 1 bath, that type of thing. So that's what I'm saying, that's where I'm at. But my money's not making me money. So I went to step one, get a hustle. Step two, get your money up so you can leave the country in case you have to. Immediately, boom, I'm there. Last, I hit that goal 2 weeks ago and went past it. So I'm past that goal, right? And anything I make now is extra. So I hit that goal. Uh, Step three is find somewhere to go. The place I wanted, black churches on every block in the hood, every block, yeah, trying to get your money. Uh, so where the place I wanted to go was Germany. I wanted to go back there because I lived there for a minute and I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel not one bit of racism over there. Not to mention the Germans weren't mad at us. The Germans were kind of wondering why we were fighting for America and America hates us. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I mean, you can go over there and sprechen a little Deutsch where they all speak English. So it's just not a hard sell because there's already a black community there. Germans speak English, so it's not like you have this learning curve over there, other than the euro. Now they don't use a Deutschmark, so you're not using a dollar anymore. But that's simple. You know what I'm saying? The internet helps you out with a lot of that. Whenever you speak to them in English, they speak to you back in English. If you speak to them in German or in Deutsch, they might. It depends on who you are. If they don't know you, it's a good chance they're going to speak to you back in English. But if you say a whole sentence and try to carry on a conversation in German, and you sound like your German is up to date, they'll start speaking to you in German. So know this. You know what I'm saying? I can't see going to the UK. The UK is in the same boat that over here they're just snatching people up, saying, "Hey, let me see your papers," and they're just violating every rule that you have as a citizen. So that's not the move. Would you consider moving to Africa, like a country like Ghana or Gambia? Ah, let me speak out of ignorance. I don't know anything about those countries. The only reason why I chose Germany is because I've been there before. I lived there for 2 years, so I know something about the country. Uh, but it's okay. So Ghana, other than people who I've met here who are actually from there, if I was going to go to Africa, that's the first place I would go. Either Ghana or Senegal. Um, I wouldn't go to the Congo, but I do know somebody who's from there. She's beautiful. I wouldn't go to the Congo. I wouldn't go to South Africa, because of their problems. And there's a whole bunch of other places. Like I wouldn't go to Nigeria, you know what I'm saying? And there's a couple other places, Eritrea, those places. I'd love to visit, but I know I wouldn't step foot into those places. So Ghana right now would be my only choice if I was going to go to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Be my only choice. Yeah, Somalian women. But I wouldn't step foot in Somalia right now either. You know, I don't look Somalian. I look, Guyanese, or, things along that line, yeah, and Senegalese because of my height. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't step foot in Somalia, you know. So, yeah, so the answer is yes, I have considered it. Some people have asked me about going into, well, I know some people who go down to Brazil, and before all this madness has happened, there was a large, and of course they were going there for one reason: the females. Females have a very different way of looking at black men. They don't, all the things that the black women here are putting black men through. None of that's going on. On a wide scale, I'm sure there's somebody down there hard headed, but on a wide scale, they don't treat you like that in Brazil. Plus, they know you're American, and some of them want to get out of Brazil. And some of them not so much so, but a lot of them want to be married. So, hey, Lady G from New York, how are you? So the black woman here that has that has fed into the stigma of treating man bad, and that's what's up, and treating your man bad and dogging him out, and all this other crazy stuff. Some of these black women are doing to black men. They have fed into this exodus of black men going to Brazil. Plus, Brazil is close. Now, of course, one of the biggest problems with Brazil is it's poor, and another problem is the AIDS rate in Brazil is very, very high. So you may get yourself, a beautiful woman, but she might, be infected, and so it's just kind of a mute point. Not unless you're infected. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, then head on down to Brazil. But there is a large amount of men who are going to Brazil to find women to date and then sometimes to marry them. You know, which is understood because they wanted to be treated differently. Now, I ain't saying all black women, dog out their men because that's just not the truth. You know what I'm saying? But for men who have had a bad experience and have heard about the Brazilian women, a lot of men have gone down there, and some of them have not come back. They're happy living there. So I know I know one guy who's gone down there and he loves it there. He goes back and forth from here to there. I never considered moving to Brazil. I know Brazil is a pretty rough place. The favelas are no joke. The slums are so yeah, you don't know if you're making it out of there or not. But Brazilian women are beautiful. So, and they have the whole, beauty culture down there that's completely different for like the African American woman here in the States. They don't look at beauty the way the Brazilian women look at beauty. Their whole because the Brazilian women are for like I said, some of them are trying to get out the country. So they're doing everything they can to get a hold of the men that are being thrown away. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, hey, we're not playing none of those games. And I'm serious. They have like these services where usually a woman will set up and they'll have just a whole bunch of these women come in dressed to the nines, just beautiful, and it'll meet at a hotel or whatever. And these hotel, out of the people there, 70% of them are women who are from Brazil, looking, for a man. A lot of times it doesn't even have to be African American; it can just be a man from the states. And it's kind of like 90 Day Fiancé. So that whole thing is going on. Anyways, you guys got any more questions before I go? I don't know what I'm eating tonight. And don't mind the hair. I gotta do something with it, but my lion's mane. But yeah. Buffering? I'm sorry. Is that better? Is that better? My hair looks ridiculous. Okay, that's better. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not sure where is the best place to go. Okay, thank you. I'm not sure what's the best place to go. I'm not sure if it's best to go alone. I don't have anyone, what I'm saying, who, well, I don't have anyone. But for you people who are looking to leave the country because our country is snatching people up now, and, we don't know what's happening to them. Hey, what's going on? Since our country is now snatching people up and we don't know where they're going, this is going to prompt people to leave the country. Oh, the hair. Okay. I was going to do something with it, but I ain't got nobody to impress. So. Oh, you don't like my hair? Well, doggone it. Bam, bam. All right. Bam. Yeah, I like to comb it out and get the naps out of it, though. What I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tony, absolutely. You guys, hold on a second. I don't like what my nose is doing. Hold on a second, guys. Uh, boom, bang, boom, bang, bang, boom. Around your buddy. Yeah. About that. Y'all know I'll be talking for hours. And, yeah. I'm trying to take a little break. Okay, so I believe Tony was asking about federal agents coming into your house. Absolutely. Yeah. Our hair defies gravity. The best believe that. You know it! My hair is definitely trying to defy something today. I don't know what's going on, but I was just gonna, throw some oil and stuff in it. Throw some of this in it. Try new olive oil lotion for your hair. It's new. Put that in it, and then I put some of this. It's Olive Miracle Grow for your hair. It makes your hair grow. Yeah. So I put those two in it. Then I comb it out and twist up, and then boom, boom. Yeah. So they are. I just think that's the next move. I think that they're going to. I think here's what I think. Here's what I think. Tony. Yeah, I know. I'm trying. Thank you, baby. Here's what I think, Tony. I think that now that the feds are involved and they're just snatching people up and with no accountability, I think that they're going to be so brazen that they're just going to come to people's house and just take people. Um, I think the your phone. Okay, so let's just take your phone. You can look on your phone and see that your phone, what it does is it has a COVID-19 detector on it, meaning that if you turn it on, anyone that's in your area of operation, which means in close proximity of you, your phone will pick up their IP address that they have COVID, and it will say, being this person's IP address and this person's name has COVID-19. This person has COVID-19. Now, that is government stuff right there. That is not no. That ain't some company doing that. That is government stuff right there. Now, if you think about that and you turn it on and you go into a restaurant or you go into just anywhere, and next thing you know, somebody's IP address pings on you, that information isn't just going to be seen by you. That information is going to be seen by whoever is controlling this, the app or whatever it is. And that information is going to be collected, well, is being collected, and they can show up at your house and go, uh, Joanna Ferguson, you know what I'm saying? Joanna Ferguson, McDonald Smith. Yeah, listen, we know you have, whatever. And next thing you know, you're like, what are you talking about? Well, yeah, we'll explain it to you. Please come with us. And dare you to put up a fuss. They're not going to come unarmed. They're going to come rolling deep, expecting some trouble. And they're just going to take you out and put you in a van or whatever. And that's going to be that. And if you make them knock down the door, they will knock down the door. They're just going to take you and you're not going to be seen. And it can all be a lie. It can all be a lie. I'm telling you, it's bad out here. I keep referring to this Will Smith movie because it was just a lot of in it is happening today, where he was in I Am Legend. Will Smith was the doctor who was trying to fix the Crippen virus. It was named Crippen after Dr. Alice Crippen, a fictitious doctor who used the measles and engineered the measles to fight cancer, and then it backfired. Well, in the scene where he was on the bridge with his family, uh, he gets scanned. He was clear, and they scanned him with the same thing they're scanning people now. Like I got scanned the other day. They used a heat scanner on me. They were just like, "Oh, you're good." I was just like, "Wow, what if I wasn't?" So they use a temperature scanner, see if if your temperature's up. Anyways, so they used the scanner in this movie, and it was the military who was scanning people. And they used the scanner in the movie, and they scan your eye, your retina, and then get information from there to see if you're sick or not. Because if you're sick with KV, your retina changes. You're sensitive to light. So in early stages, your retina start changing and your pigment changes, yada yada yada. Nonetheless, so they were looking for early stages of changes, which is in the eye. Uh, but nonetheless, the wife scanned red at first, which is bad. And then he was like, do it again, scan him again. He was in the position of power too. So he told the soldier, scan her again. And when he scanned her again, the scan turned out green, which means she was negative. So the scanner was wrong. But she was about to be left on a bridge. She ended up dying there anyway. But nonetheless, the scanner was wrong. And I'm saying that to say that technologies that we're using could be wrong. You might not have COVID 19. I heard a nurse talking, and she's saying people aren't dying of COVID 19. They're dying of the symptoms. COVID 19 is not killing people. They're dying because they're having respiratory problems or blood clots or, things along that line. She's like, that's why people are dying. So we know that FEMA government set up a large camp of coffins. We know that they have taken over Walmarts and cleared out whole Walmarts, and use Walmarts for makeshift, on the go, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Controlled hubs and stuff like that. Um, we know that they do this. I keep saying it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I'm right. I mean, we've been at this for what, 4 months now? Tell me when it's gotten better. We thought everything was going to open up now. And listen, it's gotten to the point where school districts, okay, so school districts that have mostly African, it just blew my mind when I heard this. They want African American children to go back to school while the virus is active. And when the virus becomes inactive, meaning when they find a cure for it, then white kids can go back to school. You think I'm lying? Look it up. It was announced on the news. I mean, if you think racism is dead, you're fooling yourself. They actually did this. They're just like, yeah, black kids go to school. Hold on a second. Ah, that's better. They're like, yeah, let the black kids go to school, knowing that the chance of black kids getting sick is greater. But that's not really who they're going after, because even though some children can get sick and die from it, the chances of that is not high. You know who they're aiming for? They're aiming for the parents. The kid goes to the school, picks up, coronavirus. They don't know that they have coronavirus because they're not going to show any symptoms anytime soon. And as soon as they get home, it's going to be like a bomb. Every older person in there is going to get it. Every one. The whole family. Every single one. And the ones who are 30, 35 and over, I mean, the chances are greater that you're going to die from it. And grandma, forget it. Forget it. Grandma, granddad, that's what you're doing. It's just like it's a bomb, is what it really is. It's a bomb walking into your house and just killing you. Boom, everybody's gone. Within how fast is coronavirus? Coronavirus, Crippen virus. Crippen virus shortened was KV. That's what they call it, KV. I mean, it just. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist because I'm really not on it like that. But every time I watch that movie, I learn something different because what's happening in the movie is actually happening to us. And it's real. I don't know where you guys want to go as far as leaving the country, but the body snatchers are out. I don't even know how much it would cost to leave the country. The only good thing is flights are cheap right now. But the bad thing is being an African American and trying to leave the country right now. Excuse me, leaving the country isn't the problem. And I'll get back. Yeah, but they might be necessary. Finding a country to accept you is a different thing because China has started the whole ones who are spreading the virus, and they have, been alienating black people in the country. And also over here, the reports that black people, it's spreading faster among black people because we live in close quarters, the projects and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can see that idea. What, go through Detroit, go what, right up 90, up past New York. I've been to Canada before. Yeah. But how protected do you think you'll feel in Canada? Up in Vancouver. I mean, you think you'll feel protected? Or do you think that the Mounties will start, collecting bodies? I'm going to tell you what will happen. If there was a mass exodus to Canada, here's what would happen. They would close the border to Canada. Got a brother down with his knee on his neck. Dang, everybody cashing in on doing us dirty. Well, Lady G, don't be surprised if another black man dies like this. They want you to be triggered. They want you to be triggered. And the thing about it is, they're not triggering us. See, yeah. See, they're not triggering us. They're not even trying to trigger black people um, as much as they're trying to trigger. It's not a race that they're trying to trigger. The race is the trigger. They're not black people don't come out like this and violently protest and then keep up a violent protest. It's not usually the way it happens. We usually, if we violently protest, we set something on fire and then we, go back to whatever. This is different. The people who are doing this are not black. And they're not on our side. These are not people who want equality. These are people who want war. And I think they're both on the same side. I think police who are going out and doing this and these people who are causing all these problems, in the protest trying to act like they're us, I believe that these people and the police are all working together for our demise. And they're standing right beside us, screaming, everything that we want people to hear and wake up to, but they're not on our side. They're against us. And this is clear because of the damage that they're doing. And the police are setting out rocks and stuff for you to go. And I mean, the police have damaged their own vehicles and stuff and wrote stuff all over their vehicles. People, we've been set up. Battery's low. This thing isn't charging. We've been set up. Are you on? Okay. We've been set up. If this goes off, I'm sorry, people. Yeah, I know you're not surprised. It's just a figure of speech. But it's a mess out here. I don't think that, I think we're still slaves here. And some people can say we're not. Basketball players and football players can say we're not slaves. Well, okay. You think you're not a slave? All right. Yeah. But let there be a mass exodus of black people out of the country, or try to be. Yeah, or try to be a mass exodus out of the country. Listen, let people. China has plenty of space, but let China, have a change of heart about black people. So we'll take. I mean, if they did, they would just have us. It wouldn't be an ideal situation, but people would go anyway. But they'll say, yeah, we'll take them because they have whole cities. They have whole cities that nobody lives in. But let's just say that China is like, you know what? We'll take 10 million black people. And they could do it right now. And we'll send planes or we'll, whatever, ships or whatever. We'll fund the whole thing. Just get them over here, live in these cities. We'll get them minimum wage jobs or whatever. And they could, America would shoot the planes down. They keep telling us to go home, but they don't want us to go home. Yeah, it's real. They have whole cities because China has superstructures that they have to build in order for their GDP to be in some kind of crazy range that they have. But this is why they $1 billion loans and then they set up, they go to these poor countries in Africa and set up their superstructures. They set up their water, their electricity. It costs billions of dollars. And they give a loan to these African countries, but they know, and they charge very little interest because they know they're never going to see the money back. But what they do is they buy the land. And what they're really hunting for is gold. But they have all of this money. I mean, they can put up a, 30, 40 story building in 20 days. Literally, they've done it. They are a whole different breed of getting it done. I mean, 20 days, boom, a skyscraper is up. You cannot get America to do that. Heck, we're too busy. We'd be still discussing it. 20 days? Oh, heck no. Not going to happen in America. If we leave, they would have to find some other groups to do dirty. Yeah, yeah. But they need us to be slaves. They need that. Listen, but the way they were given reparations just sounds so backwards. If you're going to give reparations, you got to start with the federal government. You got to go to them and say, all those grants that we applied for that you would not let us get, we want you to go ahead and release those funds to only black people, nowhere. We were supposed to have that. And then some people did acquire that. Some slaves got free and, had land. And it was just stripped from them. And a lot of them lost their lives trying to defend that land because they wanted to grow crops and pigs and hogs and pigs and hogs the same thing. But you know what I'm saying? They wanted to be farmers, and they just had a hard way to go, and that should have never happened. It should have never happened. So I don't want to be a farmer, but I wouldn't mind having about 5, 6 acres. You know what I'm saying? Sharecropping was a scam. I don't know a lot about sharecropping, so you have to leave some links. But I know a lot of innocent people lost their lives just because they wanted to live their life as a farmer and wanted to be left alone. And the government did not give them the chance to succeed. They didn't give them any help. They didn't, and it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. My dad uh, worked for Goodyear for 36 years. But while my dad was working there, he was also, a hustler. He had a paper route. He had two of them. Like 4 o'clock in the morning, he was out doing a paper route. And then he'd go to work at like 7, you know what I'm saying? And go to work, come home, after that shift, sleep a couple hours, and then hit another shift. Like he was on it like that. He didn't sleep a lot. He worked a lot. But one day he had to cut down a tree that was, pretty much hanging over his roof. And he realized if this limb came down, it's going to put a big hole in the roof. It was going to be, and he had a bunch of kids he was trying to, get out of high school and into, you know, get them out the house. So he couldn't afford to slow down and deal with a big old hole in his roof. He's like, nah, this is not going to happen. So what he did was he went and got a saw, ladder, went up and cut the damn thing down. And he did it so good that the neighbor saw him and was like, yo, you did a good job on that, because if you cut down a limb and when you cut it down and it still hits the house, you failed. So you have to cut it a certain way so it'll fall away from the house. And he was able to, just see that, okay, I need to do it like this. Took his time about it, wasn't stupid. And, got the right equipment to do the job. Boom, cut it up, all over. Well, that was the beginning of something. When the neighbors saw it, they were like, hey, can you cut mine down too? And he was like, sure. Well, the neighbor saw the neighbor, and then it just, everybody who saw him doing this was like, "Hey, can you go ahead and help me up?" So he was like, "Yeah, for a few dollars." So he kicked off his own business just by happenstance. Sharecropping is white and blacks work on it. is the okay sharecropping is the whites had blacks work on a land that was supposed to belong to to the blacks. They never made much money, so they would go get their necessities on credit when they couldn't pay the whites. Oh, okay. Damn. See, that's what we need reparations for. You just need they need to stop playing and do it right. But nonetheless, thank you for that, Lady G. I appreciate it because I didn't know what it was. So nonetheless, the my dad started something now because everybody needs a lawn service. I got a friend who does lawn service, and the same thing happened to my friend who does lawn service now. Happened to my dad. It got bigger than him. Next thing you know, my dad was cutting down trees left and right. So he needed more equipment. He needed to put money into it, and he realized that if I just throw a few dollars into this, I could bring home some serious bacon and be my own man. You know what I'm saying? Just another trick to keep us depending on them. Right. That sounds like exactly what it was. So he pondered this, even though he really liked his job. He pondered this and he said, okay, let me go on down here and talk to another black man who was actually bigger than him in that same business. And when he went to them, he said, listen, I need like a couple of your guys and a few trucks. And he's like, let's go into business. I'll pay you so much. And the guy was like, yo, that sounds good. That sounds good, but I can't. It's another black man talking to him. And he said, why? He said, because if I do, then they're going to come down on me, meaning the white people. And that was it. That was it for my dad's idea. Even though he had a great job, he was still trying to be his own person. So, there have, I mean, the white man has, stopped a lot of progress. We've stopped a lot of our own progress. Let's not be, let's not be foolish. But if you can get off from under one, you can get off from under them saying that you're fired. If you can get off from under that, I got off from under it. You know, before I was on disability, I had enough of getting fired for no reason. I was too smart, too young, way too strong minded. I was like, okay. And one day I got fired and I had a nervous breakdown. And that was the one and only time that happened to me. And I tell you what, for 6 months, I went on unemployment. And for 6 months, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see my girlfriend. I didn't want to screw her. I didn't want to hear her voice. She would call me just to check up on me, come see me every now and then. But I just wanted to be alone. I was depressed. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks because I kept getting fired. I was like 30 years old and I kept getting fired. I really wanted to work for the state, be this, have this family and this, children and this, and be loved. Oh, never happened for me. You know, kept getting fired or turned down. Started looking at jobs on there and I started doing odds and ends. And then I got into marketing and promotion, and I did that all the way up to 2000. Well, shoot, I did that all the way up to 2012, and that's when I got in a car accident and got on disability. And once I got on disability, that was pretty much it for going to work because I can't work for anyone doing what I used to do. You know what I'm saying? That's why my cheeks are big as heck because I'm fat now. I'm 287 pounds. Fat ass. But yeah, 2012 got in that car accident. That was it. But yeah, but I still get my hustle on every now and then. I try to find a little something to get into, and it's worked. So now I have enough money to. I'm not comfortable though. You know how much money I would need to be comfortable? I'm tell you now. I'm tell you now. To be able to go wherever I want to go, land, not really be worried about anything. About 50 grand. About 50 grand. Well, I wake up in pain. I go to bed in pain. I mean, I crawl into bed like I just been working all day, and it's not. I'm just in pain. I'm just in pain. My knees, my back, my shoulders. It's a bad deal. Plus, when your hair looks like this, oh my God, Lord, what to do? No, but I always realized it could have been worse, or it could be worse, because I was in worse positions. I'm not broke. Um, I can get a burger if I need one. You know what I'm saying? I can go ahead and get a burger. Little DoorDash. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really stressed about anything. So even though I'm not physically able to do what I used to, I can't get out and run any miles anymore. That's a dub. It's over. Are you beneficial or have you been official? I don't know what that means. It's because the strength that I do have, I put it towards hustling. You know what I'm saying? I put it towards hustling. I was like, I need to do something. And, God bless me. And I found something to do. And every now and then I do that little hustle and make a little something. And I'm not a big spender. I don't have, I don't have any vices, and I'm not being braggadocious. I'm just saying I don't go to the club. I don't have a woman because a woman, you want to, what I'm saying, you want to take her out and stuff like that. You want to buy her stuff. I don't have a woman. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't go out. I watch Netflix. I watch Amazon. I go to the gym. I live a very, very simple life. And, I was talking to my neighbors and they was looking at me like, wow, dude, like, we can't believe how old you are. Because you don't have no gray hair. And it was like, you be dyeing your hair. I was like, no, I never dyed my hair. I'm just an old guy with no gray hair. And they were like, that's because you live a very stress free life. I'm like, that's exactly right. I don't have any stressors. I just don't have any. I don't want any either. I don't have nothing stressing me out. So, I go to bed and wake up in pain, but I don't go to bed and wake up with worry. I don't have a lot of that going on. And when things do start to bother me, I start praying about them. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's the truth. I'll be like, okay, Lord, old girl talking crazy across the street. You might have to go ahead and, next thing you know, they move. Now I got a new neighbor who's talking kind of, reckless, walking around with a loaded gun, talking crazy. And I know he's aiming some of that, what he's saying at me, but I'm trying my best to ignore him. I think he's going to end up leaving soon. Because God doesn't want me in that type of atmosphere. He's like, nah, we're not doing this. So I just got to, if I be quiet, ignore him, I think eventually he's just going to go away. And I thank God for that, for blessing me like that. Full Netflix, even though I have to cancel Netflix coming up here soon. Just got Amazon Prime. I'm sitting up here watching uh, Macross. No, it's not Macross. It's you guys don't know nothing about this. You gotta be a fogey to know anything about this. Robotech. Sitting up here watching reruns of Robotech. You gotta be a fogey to know about Robotech. But yeah, so yeah, as far as going somewhere, I would like to have 50 grand. I don't have 50 grand. I would like to. So that's kind of my goal. That's kind of my goal. My goal is to get within the realm, get yourself a good 2 bedroom something, right? You can, and let's just say it costs you, let's just say $1,000 a month, right? You can get yourself a 2 bedroom something, $1,000 a month. You got to put down, your little deposit. That's 2 G's right there. That's just on procuring a place. That's 2 G's. Boom. Plus the application fee. We're not talking about the flight there. We're not talking about, you know, getting your stuff there. We're just talking about just that process right there. Boom, 2 G's plus the application fee. You see what I mean? Like, that's a lot of money gone just like that. Boom. So application fee could be, $200-300. So you got 2,400 gone just on that ordeal. Okay, time to go. It's been nice as always. Okay, have a good night. I enjoyed it. Good night, all. Have a wonderful and peaceful evening, fam. Peace. You got counterfeit? No. What are you talking about, bro? No, hell no. But I'm saying that's 2 G's. That's almost 2,500. Boom. So when you look at, your flight to wherever you're going, plus moving your stuff over there, and if you're keeping your automobile, you got to ship your automobile. You're talking about $3,000 to ship your automobile. As if you were, if I was heading to Germany. So you're looking easily $6,000-7,000 getting established. That's a grip. I mean, you're at least looking at five. If you're gonna ship your car, then you gotta make your car to spec. You might as well sell the car. Don't even ship the car. So let's just say that you own a car and you're just gonna sell it. Don't ship the car. It's not worth it. You're just gonna get a car when you get there, right? So you still be looking around. Yeah, passive income. You still be looking around. We'll see. What I'm trying to get now is I'm trying to get a good tertiary income, passive income. That's what I'm trying to do now. But you still looking at 5 G's. I mean, if plane ticket and all to fly here to there, still be looking at 5 G's. So if you got 5 G's right now, you can actually move somewhere. As long as you don't, you're not trying to cripple yourself by moving into a 4 bedroom flat that you don't need. You're just looking at a nice one or two bedroom flat, 1,000, 1,200 a month, deposit and everything. Plus you got to turn on your utilities. $5,000 can get you up and out, and you're not hurting. However, if $5,000 is all you have, then you might want to think about a roommate. So if there's two of you and you both got, an equal equivalent of 10 G's, well, you're in there now. You can do something with 10 G's. That still gives you a little space to get, some more passive income, tertiary income, some type. That gives you a couple months. Heck, shoot, that would give you around what? I'd give you around a year or so to get your act together, wouldn't it? If you got about 10 G's, that would give you about a year or more to get your act together. Don't forget your rent, is coming. I mean, when you're looking at rent, utilities, if your rent is a G, then your utilities at least going to be $500, you know. Then eventually you got to buy a car too. So, you're looking at 1,500 a month. That's gonna. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So that's gonna give you somewhere around maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 months. You have to have on the sixth month, the beginning on the first of that 6 month, you need to have something else covering your rent, and it needs to be in the realm of at least $2,000 for you to stay afloat. If your rent and utilities is 1,500, you need at least 2 G's coming in. And if there's two of you, well, shoot, you should be able to get 4 G's a month. And if you can do that, well, then you're whistling Dixie. So for you guys who plan on moving somewhere, I know I'm just throwing out numbers, but they do make sense. So you might want to start looking at places that will, and then calling these places, seeing how much it costs to move in, what the area is like. Heck, if you can, go visit them. I know that's a lot of money. But if not, you know, if you're by yourself and you got $5,000, and you need to move like right now, then I say it's highly possible that you'll be successful. If you have a plan. If you're making your money on the internet, that's great. If you're not, you work for a hospital and you've already filled out the paperwork and work. You want to live in West Essex or something like that. You know, you're a nurse. Any nurses everywhere. So that's the benchmark for a small place, you guys. $5,000. And for those of you who don't have $5,000, that is your goal. That is and that's your short-term goal. So just write it down right now. Stop spending money on stuff you don't need. And if you got 2 G's in the bank, figure out how you got that 2 G's, and like, I need another, 3,000. And you should start working on that right now. For those of you who have more than that, don't go out and waste your money. Don't go out and, ooh, I want to get a brand new. No. If your shoes don't have holes in them, then you're fine. Partying, you're not with it. No, thank you very much. Have a good day. You want to buy a fancy chain, watch, you don't need none of that. For those of you who are just spending money to be spending it, this is the wrong time. Don't do it. Keep your money in your pocket. And like I said, $5,000 is your goal. This is, I need to go right now money. I'm not going to ask how many of you got it because it's not none of my business. But you need to be talking to yourself and asking yourself, do I have $5,000 in the bank? If you don't have it, go get it. That's your goal right now. That's your short term goal, which means within a year. Your long term goal, well, excuse me, your midterm goal is $10,000. That's within, let's just say, the next 3 years. You need lawyer money. That's a whole different animal. Lawyers will suck you dry. Ask Terrell Owens. Ask Mike Tyson. Lawyers will take everything you got with no love. But lawyer money, you start off five and then go on up. They cost so much just to retain them. $300 a month to retain them. But yeah, so your short-term goal is $5,000. Cut out all the stuff you don't need. Some of you guys who are, well, all of you guys who are working, a lot of you guys are spending money on stuff you don't need. And you can start looking at stuff you don't need right now and going, I don't need to do that. I don't need that. Some of you get haircuts every week. You don't need to do that. Not every week. That's what? 25, $30 right there. It adds up. It adds up. If you're doing it every week, boom, that's $50 a month you just saved. Just now. Boom. Start getting it once every 2 weeks. Change your hairstyle to where you don't need a haircut but once a month. Boom, you just saved yourself $100. I'm just saying. You gotta start thinking like that. Do I need this? A lot of you guys got a bunch of shoes in your closet. You don't even wear them all. You don't need them. You don't need them. Get a little scuff all of a sudden. You need new shoes. Nope. You need to clean the ones that you have. You got some dirty shoes that are still in good shape. Go ahead and whip out the little soap. Clean those shoes up. Could care less what your friends got to say. Man, those are old. Yes, but they still work. If they teasing you, leave those friends alone. Especially if you reason with them, be like, look, man, I'm trying to save my money. I'm not going to buy no new shoes. I'm trying to save my money. Oh, man, if they clown you, don't be around them. They're not on the same mission you are. You need somebody who's going to understand immediately. Like, okay, yeah. What you saving for? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I've been trying to save my money too. That's the person you should be around. Saving your jack, making sure they understand that. Um, I don't buy the most expensive gas for my truck, and it's just fine. I buy 89. I don't use 90 or 93. Um, so my truck is fine with just 89 in it. So that's another thing. I put $20 in it. Depends on how busy I am. So usually about once every 2 weeks. But if I get busy, of course, well, about once a week. So that's $80 right there. I mean, if I'm busy, of course that goes up. But on average, we'll just say $80. It's not really 80, but we'll just say that. So if some of you don't need to put, you know, you need to go by what the manual says actually, because the manual will tell you what kind of gas to put. It cuts down on my cost. Um, I don't have no AC in my car. I refuse to fix it. So I'll be rolling the windows down and letting the breeze hit my. That's why my hair looks like this. But I won't fix the AC, so I'm not doing it in that truck. Um, because I'll be looking at $1,200. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Uh, just other ways to save. I'm telling you guys this because you're gonna need to save your money. When they ramp up, what I think is gonna happen, you guys are gonna have to take off. You might have to leave your house and leave everything the way it is. And the Bible actually talks about that. It said, you're going to have to leave everything the way it is. I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm not getting that from the Bible. I'm just thinking, I just read this in the Bible. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here soon. I think some of us are going to have to flee our homes. And the word says, if you left something at home and you go back to get it, you lose your life. You know, it's talking about for those who try to save their life, they'll lose it. And then it says, remember what happened to Lot's wife. She turned around when she shouldn't have, and she lost her life. But I think that is actually going to happen where people are going to they're going to have to flee from what the government is doing. This is all type of wrong. They shouldn't be just snatching people and you don't know where they're at. You don't hear from these people for days. You ain't seen these people. That right there, that's not the law. That's not the law. That's gang activity. That's what that is. That's what it is. It's gangs do that. Gang members do that. This is not the police who's supposed to protect and serve you. Police aren't supposed to do that. These are gang members doing that. And that's what the federal government is acting like. So, if these are federal police, we don't know who they are. We just know that they're snatching up people in unmarked cars. So, I think they're going to get even more brazen. And like I said, people are realizing what's going on. Everybody on social media knows that these people are being snatched. And creepy, nasty war vibe. Yeah. And what I think is going to happen is you're going to see less protesters. So, especially blacks, you're going to see less protesters. And being that they need to arrest these people, what's going to happen is they're just going to show up at people's houses. And they're just going to start taking them and saying, hey, you have coronavirus, or, you know, and that's it. And when that happens, people are going to need to flee their homes. And I think we're that close to that happening. It wouldn't surprise me if it started happening already. People are going to need to flee their homes. And when you do, you don't want to be broke. So save your money. Get yourself a short-term goal. Get yourself an exiting strategy. Um, if you don't have no one, if you're single and you're by yourself, uh, the woods aren't the worst place to be if you got a plan. So if you're going to spend your money on some survival stuff. Sleeping in your car is not a bad idea. Uh, if you can get to a Walmart parking lot, it's not the worst idea in the world. You know what I'm saying? Head down to somewhere where it doesn't get very cold. So down south, you know what I'm saying, or west, something like that, if you can. So I'm saying you're gonna need money for that. So don't go spend your money on goofy stuff and you know stuff you don't need. Save your money. You're gonna need it. Anybody got any questions for me before we go? Before I go? I'll probably come back on again, probably a couple days when I hear more news that needs to be talked about. But you guys need to stay safe, stay alert, stay alive, and keep your ears to the ground, man. Make sure you know, or stay in the know. Don't think that it's not going to happen to you because you're not special in their eyes. Guns and healthy science, no idea what you're talking about. On that note, you guys have a good evening. Bye.